Pat Ridge, thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. At your place, too.
Yeah, bro, of course.
Super cool. So thanks for having us out here at Graceland Ranch. So for those that don't know you, do you want to just start out by letting people know a little bit about who you are, your past, what you're doing now?
I have a sober living here. There's 20 people here. We reach people through social media, mostly TikTok. Most of the people in this house are here because they found us on the internet. And before this, I was doing production with doing, music videos and commercials and just different kind of content for social media with my production company, Ridge Production. And before that, I was in a band called Hypercrush. And we got like a record deal, which is fucking stupid to even say because it didn't fucking matter. I mean, saying it is impressive, but for me, what's more impressive is that we were in the top 5 of MySpace for like a long time and put out 3 albums and built a fan base. And the record deal is actually what I think fucked us in the end, honestly. Actually, but they gave us enough money to where we could do it for a little while. But I got sober before all that. So I have 17 years sober, and me and my wife have a brand called Learning to Lose. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, that and this sober living.
When I first started seeing your content, a lot of it was on TikTok. And I was like, damn, dude, this dude's like recording himself arguing with his wife. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of shocks people, right? Because it's like a pattern interrupt. Nobody's doing that, right? But then I realized this is the same shit that everybody's doing, right? Everybody's arguing with their wife. Everybody's getting into stuff and they just don't post it.
Yeah.
So the more and more I consumed your content, and obviously the sober thing kind of, really was enticing about your content, but the more and more I consume it, it's like, man, there's not many people that are this real and this transparent with their content. So like when it comes to having a sober living and creating content, I know you get a lot of flack for that, but what are the biggest challenges with that?
People like expecting the owner of a sober living to be some cookie cutter person. The owner of a sober living is a sober person who was at one point in time a drug addict, who is, has flaws. That's the truth. And I think a lot of people are pretending. Anyone who has a company or a business or a storefront, or our culture wants us to be is expecting us to present our best self. And I don't really see the value in that. I think that's like fake. That's bullshit. And I also think that I think that our world today is ready for something different and something more real. Like, that's why I love Joe Rogan, because he's real. I mean, I took it, I think, a little further than him or anyone. Like, I'm like, all right, how can I be original? How can I be different? Right. So that's like the fighting stuff. But it's not just me and my wife fighting. But you said the challenge, I guess, just being misunderstood and, having people, see those parts of me and just assume that I'm like a bad guy because I'm showing those parts. I don't know. I think that people get confused by that and they judge real quick, or maybe they see like one video where I'm like kind of acting like, maybe a little bit of an asshole. I might seem like I'm being an asshole, which we all have the tendency to be at one point or another. And they think that's like who I am. And then, they don't like me, and I want people to like me. So when people don't like me, it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also like the industry and the anonymity part of like sobriety is, I think a lot of people, it just makes them feel uncomfortable, and they don't like it at first.
Yeah.
Anything new is going to be perceived as like, you know, whatever, polarizing.
Yeah.
You know? So
right.
I guess those are the challenges.
So when you're in the music industry, so you said you got sober before Hypercrush or in the middle, like
Before.
when you were, okay. So going into the music, I mean, you're probably in the industry before, but, you know, what is that like being sober in an industry where you're going to these parties, you're doing these things, and it shows everybody's fucked up, right? So, I mean, how challenging was that, you know?
Well, I don't think everyone's fucked up. My bandmates weren't like that gnarly with it, so that kind of made it easier. That's really what it came down to, was the people who I was doing this with, like, were responsible. They weren't like addicts. They didn't do any drugs. They just like drank moderately.
Yeah.
Which doesn't even interest me anyway. So,
yeah,
you know, being around, I think that for me, it was just like, it's not that much fun in the club or at a party when you're sober. I mean, I guess it can be if there's other sober people there.
Yeah.
But, and I guess at first it's cool, like, meaning like the night you go out and the first hour is cool. And then like, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours into whatever, it's like starts to get old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just did it. I think I just wanted to, plus there was this guy, one of the guys that we toured with was, I mean, he wasn't like in the program, but he was sober on the bus. The bus is fun. The van was kind of gnarly, but mostly it's just like long drives, a lot of scenery,
yeah,
and just like planning and talking about like the future of this brand, this group, you know?
That's really good. And yeah, I've always wondered, because I'm not in any way connected to the music industry. So I've always wondered, like, my perception of it, especially in the type of music that you were in. I feel like there's a lot of drugs in that scene just anyways. And when I first got sober, I started to, you know, I got sober in Boston, and I met some guys from the Dropkick Murphys, and I got to go to their shows, and I realized these guys are sober, and like watching how they operate, and just my, I don't know, expectations versus reality were just totally mixed up. It wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, like most successful people are not like fucking drug addicts.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even someone like Kurt Cobain probably had his shit together.
Yeah.
Before he didn't.
Right.
And then.
You think the money fucks people up?
For sure. We just like did a post. I mean, we literally just made a post about this. Do you remember? How like power, money, success, getting older, it just makes you less childlike.
Yeah.
It just kind of like, there's so many different things it does to you.
Yeah, for sure. So when you got sober, what was, you know, usually there's like one event or one thing that's the why to not just get sober, but stay sober. You know, what was that for you?
To stay?
To be sober. Like
to
when
be sober was I just couldn't fucking do it anymore. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't continue taking that many pills every day.
Yeah.
My friends cut me off. I literally just actually did a post about this too. But like to the thing that kept me wanting to stay sober was Liberty House.
Okay.
And the structure I was introduced to.
Okay.
In that sober living.
Got it. Okay.
And the community and like the accountability and like just the militant, I don't know, it just seemed there was something really dope about that, like going all the way. Not just like, oh, I'm going to kind of stay sober and still kind of be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like these dudes were fucking really doing it. And they were like, if there was someone around them that was fucked off, they were like pulling covers.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just something cool. There was something like that was like attractive about that. It was like the Navy SEALs of fucking sobriety.
Yeah. Okay.
In that house.
Right. Okay. So what would you say to somebody that's going through their dark night? Like, you know, for me, before I got sober, like there was so many moments leading up to it where that could have been the reason why I got sober. But there was one night where I was like, you know, the next day I literally posted on Facebook. I was like, I am never going to drink again. Like I'm done drinking for good. And that was the last time. So for anybody that's thinking about getting sober, anybody that's getting close and they know it.
You want to light some incense? What would I say to them?
Yeah, so anybody that's looking to get sober, what would you say to them?
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
You know? If you're not, then you should probably try something new.
Yeah.
And you know, you can be sober. I am.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fucking fun in sobriety.
Yeah, I think the common misconception is that all your friends are going to hate you when you get sober and everything's going to suck and it's going to be boring. And then you get sober and you start to meet new people. You start to make new friends and you start to realize that sobriety is sick.
Yeah.
Like sobriety is great.
Yeah.
You know?
It's cool.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like cool people. You know, I wouldn't worry too much about.
Can we actually not like that? Because sometimes I get allergies.
Oh, you're good.
Like bad. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
My bad, dude.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to
that's
start
fine.
like sneezing.
Yeah,
and
no,
being
you're
fucking-
good.
Yeah.
What was that?
What was what?
The last part you said?
I would
yeah,
start, I have allergies like bad. So
Not
yeah.
that. What the podcast part?
Got it.
The community in AA is dope.
Yeah.
You meet new people. Everyone's cool. Like there's like-minded young people and like cool. Like it's just like amazing.
Yeah, and when I got sober, it was everything changed, you know. So yeah, so I guess what I was saying is when I first decided to get sober, I remember before I was always thinking about getting sober. I knew I wanted to, but I didn't really know. I don't know. I think people fear the unknown. And when you go into something new like sobriety, you start to think like, why am I even doing this? Because it's not even going to be fun. All of my fun before this, at least for me, was like going out with my friends, going to games, getting drunk, going to bars, going to parties, whatever, right? You know, we would drink doing anything. And then when I got sober, I realized like, holy fuck, everything that I wanted was on that other side of fear. You know, like everything that I wanted to come true, I was holding back. I was holding myself back because I didn't get sober.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do that thing that instinctively I knew that I needed to do. You know, so for me, it was like a no-brainer. And I think that's one thing that's kept me sober is because I've had hard times, right? Like I've had friends die. My sister committed suicide. Running a business is depressing and lonely and hard enough. And, you know, anyway, so I guess that's why I asked about like, what was it that made you get sober? Because there's always something that really pushes somebody over the edge and keeps them like, it's that why. It's the same thing with business or anything.
Yeah, it's weird that it was so long ago. I just remember just being like done, you know?
Like tired?
Yeah, like I just couldn't fucking maintain that habit, you know? It's like it was 17 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I just like it's more so what I think about is like how I stay sober today or how do I find the joy in life today but yeah, I mean honestly the only thing I can think of to answer your question is that like it just stopped working.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think for me too. I think at some point I was tired. I was exhausted. And at some point it's like, that like, okay, I've done this for so many years. For me, I got sober at 23, so I got lucky early, but I just knew like, I'd been drinking since I was in high school. So for me, it was like, dude, I'm done. I just can't, if I keep doing this, it's going to get worse. It hasn't gotten better. It's getting less fun with more consequences. And it just, it's like, follow the formula. If this shit isn't working, maybe I should do something different. Like you said, try something new.
Yeah.
So.
And recovery out here is like really amazing.
Yeah, in Boston too. In Boston, it was, I don't know anything about Liberty House or, but in AA, I got sober in Boston, Dorchester. And the community out there, from what I know, is super serious. Like I've been to meetings all over the country, never anything like that, and the tight-knit small community has been super, super helpful for me. But when I moved to California, I didn't really have that. So I don't really know how California does it,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long have you been out here?
5 years. So every time I go back, I'm in Boston, like,
but you're in
3-4 times.
Do you go to meetings out here and shit?
Every now and then. I do some Zoom ones, like since COVID. Yeah, so I kind of stepped away from the AA community, like not for anything in particular. I just didn't have my group. And whenever I go back to Boston, I'm at like 2, 3, 4 meetings while I'm there, even if I'm there for just a couple of days, like, and that's good. But I've been good without it, like, and I think that AA has kind of I think for most people, and maybe I'm different, I think for most people, AA is really, really important. For me, I've never felt different whether I go or not, right? Like they say, serve people, help other people in AA. But for me, like I just try to help people wherever I am, whether that's in a meeting or not,
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe what do you think about challenging the narrative of like, you have to be in AA or in a program? Because I'm not saying it's not true. For me, it hasn't changed anything. Like they say, oh, you leave AA and things just start to fall apart. For me, that hasn't happened. My life has been great. And I haven't left AA. It's not like I'm not, like I don't go to meetings. It's not like if somebody needs help, like I'm always getting people to meetings. I'm always helping people whenever that comes about. But, yeah, I mean, do you have anything to say about that? Do you have any advice?
For sure. I think that whatever works for whoever is fine.
Yeah. Do you think that with because again, I don't know, like, and I'm more trying to learn about, because I feel like AA is very, like, you have to walk this exact line and you can't step out of this. Otherwise I don't know. It just never really made sense to me. Right. And
dude, I fucking had like an outburst in a meeting the other day, and I was like, I'm just fucking sick and tired of hearing about like the steps. Like, that's important. I mean, this was sort of a toxic share. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have shared, but I just wanted to get honest about, like, in the beginning, it's super important. You have to do them. And I think you should always try to have a sponsee or two or however many you need. Some people need more, some people need less, but like all I can say is for me, and you can say for you.
Right.
So to each his own. For me, there's been times where I wasn't going to like a bunch of meetings. Like there's been times where I've like leaned more into the program. For me today, I need to like work out and like, have some sort of like exercise routine and like eat pretty well. Like eating is a big part of like one of the things I struggle with. Not being hungry and then wanting to eat shitty food and then like gaining weight and then feeling bad and then having like a healthy relationship with like my wife and other people who aren't sober. All of it is important. Like, not just making sure that I'm going to meetings. I mean, there would be some people who might say you just need to go to meetings and have and be doing the steps. Right. And I think that if you're doing those things, like you'll automatically start treating people right and looking at your part. But I don't know if that's going to get you to like be healthy. Right. Or like pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument to be made for whether or not pursuing your dreams is even the goal.
What do you mean?
I mean, I've like accomplished, I've achieved some stuff, you know, and it like didn't last, didn't make me happy, you know. I feel like I was the happiest in between careers.
Yeah.
That's why I came up with that brand, Learning to Lose, because it was like through losing some shit.
Yeah.
I was like free.
Well, it's the journey, right? Like the journey is, for me, when I look back into it, you know, when I look back on some of the times where like statistically or when you look at it, like no money, no food sometimes, you know, car getting repoed, you know, just stuff that happened in my early 20s. And I was still like the happiest ever because I was on this like journey, right? Like I was learning about myself. I was chasing something. And like, for instance, like my business, right? I hit a couple of these large goals, revenue goals, things like that I wanted to hit. And yeah, like the fulfillment just isn't there. And I think that,
I mean, it for temporarily,
yeah, but
it like lasts for a little bit.
But just like buying a new car, right? Like I know that like, you know, every time I upgrade a new car, right? I started out with a shitty Honda and then, you know, got a BMW, then a nicer BMW, then, you know, and like upgrading all these cars, it's like, it's really cool for about a week and then that fades away.
Or like a month.
Yeah. Or sometimes 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it like, but it's temporary. And the things to me that I think are always fulfilling are serving people. And that's the thing about AA that I love. It's like everybody is so genuine about trying to help others. And one thing that I've realized about getting sober is I poured a lot of that energy that I used to pour into alcohol, and I took that energy and I focused it into business. And the cool thing about business is like you can have people come under you. Like you can have mentor, or you can be a mentor to people just like you can in the sober community. So I've just seen so many parallels of that. And, you know, instead of dumping all that energy into something negative, turning it into something toxic. So when I was coming up here, I was thinking of questions I was going to ask you. And that's one, like with Ridge Productions and Learning to Lose and all the content you put out, how much of that energy that you used to waste, you know, 17 plus years ago is just going into something more positive?
Yeah, I'm like always fucking showing people how to do shit and teaching people, but it's so that they can like help me. So I don't know.
Do you think that's the fulfilling stuff? Like, do you think that has a longer fulfillment term than a new car or money or things like that?
I don't know, dude. These motherfuckers just leave anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard, bro.
You can't
like
want it for somebody else.
I've like taught so many people so many things, and then they've just like left me. So like, I don't know. It's cool.
In business or?
Yeah.
But they're supposed to. Like, they're not supposed to be with us forever. At least that's what I think. Like, when somebody leaves, like, that's good. Hopefully they go on to something better, I think, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's part of the process.
I think it's like how they leave.
Yeah.
You know? If they don't leave like amicably and they leave with some like, in like a really like fucked up way, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like a betrayal, and I have like abandonment issues, and like, so that's been like a struggle.
Yeah.
But yeah, like watching people learn how to do something and then teaching them, it's cool. I don't know. I just feel like I've done it so many times that I guess like the thrill of like the thrill of like everything is just the only thing now that I care about, that I want, is like a moment, a connection with another human being, some joy, some peace. Like, I just feel like everything else is just, I'm just like over everything else.
Yeah.
I still kind of chase things here and there because I forget. But yeah, I've always put a lot of energy into whatever I do. So like when it was using, I was like borrowing money. I was figuring out ways to get high, but I was also making music and collaborating with people and being creative. And then, you know, I think when I got sober, it freed up a lot of energy, like you said, where I could just double down on like shit, you know. But then I kind of became not as easy to be around because the people who I was working with, I was like really pushing because it takes a lot to be successful.
Yeah, and especially like with you running a business, but also, you know, with the sober living stuff, there's a lot of emotion and late nights that go into this stuff that people don't see. So how often do you feel drained? Like it's got to take it out of you, right?
I've just been drained opening this house. And I mean, we've been open for about 1.5 years. It's been like a traumatic experience, also like a fulfilling one and rewarding. And we've helped some people like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's been traumatic and I feel completely drained.
Yeah. So
how am I going to fill myself back up? I don't know. Maybe it has to happen like each day or we'll see. But it's this is definitely like getting it to where it's at now has taken almost all of my energy and Woody's too. And Madison and the people that have been doing it with me.
So in terms of content creation, I want to pivot a little bit just to like the TikTok stuff, because that's where a lot of people see you guys. Yeah. How long did it take you to blow up on TikTok? And I know you get a mixed variation of feedback from people on there, but I think overall it's really, really positive. But how long did it take you from like putting out content to actually making it?
Well, I've been putting out content for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And like it used to look a lot better. I've been like charging YouTube for a while before it really just started taking off with TikTok. And when I started like collaborating with my wife.
Got it.
That's really when it like about 2 years, I would say like 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I just started like hitting it really hard and like being like extra transparent with it. And it just started growing faster than anything I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Watching your growth has been crazy. Like, I mean, what are you at? Like 850,000 subscribers or followers on TikTok?
Like 750.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Or 780.
Whatever it is. That's a lot of people. That's like that's a city.
Yeah.
And how fast did that grow? You said, I mean, TikTok hasn't been around too long.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I compare myself to other people, and it's just like, I don't think that it's enough.
Yeah.
I just see like these dudes that have like 10 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, I used to think that like once you hit 1 million, you can like grow quicker.
Yeah.
But it's not that way.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I sat at like 750 or 650.
Yeah.
For like a month. And I lost followers.
Yeah.
It doesn't like get easier.
Yep.
Nothing gets easier.
Yeah.
Not sobriety. Not like, I still have to come up with new ideas and like push the limit with the content. I mean, the views are better. That's a cool thing. Right. Like, so once you have that following, I will make it, I'm 100% know that every single thing I post, no matter what, no matter how shitty it is going to get at least 20,000 views. Yeah. Which is like amazing. Yeah. I forget though.
Well, and some of your videos have like 5+ million views.
Yeah.
Just on TikTok, and that's all getting spread to different platforms too. So that's crazy. When you think about the impact you have, and then when you look at that on the macro scale, how many lives you've impacted positively. I mean, I wonder how many people have gotten sober because of it. You must get messages. Right?
Yeah. It reminds me of like, you know how like in movies when people like heal someone,
yeah,
they like get drained,
yeah,
and they like start to die.
Yeah,
I feel like that. I feel like I mean, I don't want to get like too dark or anything, but
dark,
like
dude.
I feel like I'm like dying or breaking, or I can't do it it's a lot, but yeah, I get messages from people all the time, and it's fucking crazy. I feel like I need to take a break. I need to because I'm not just being funny or motivational. It's like I'm like exposing it all and like wearing my heart on my sleeve and like being extra vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you're opening yourself up for like the possibility of being hurt.
Yep.
And there are people that are hurting me.
Yeah.
And that's like, I didn't realize how strong I was going to need to be. Like last night I was on a walk with my wife, and these people are just, there's like a bunch of people who are trying to shut me down, and it's just getting old.
Right.
And they don't go away, and they're anonymous, some of them, and it just sucks, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody that loves himself is going to be doing that stuff, right? Like it's the corny quote of like hurt people is totally true.
Yeah.
And I've kind of looked at, because when I posted that thing saying, hey, what questions you guys want me to ask Pat when I interview him? Dude, I got so many messages from people that like, dude, they must have spent 30 minutes writing up this thing, right? And I read through it and it like doesn't make sense. And it's like, I can only imagine what it's like being on the other side, especially like...
Yeah, they're telling you like their whole life story.
Not even. Like they're not even... some of them don't even make sense. But to be on the other side of that, being on the receiving end, when you're genuinely trying to help people, and people don't realize like people do the best that they can with the cards that they're dealt, right? So like no matter who it is, whether it's the homeless guy on the street, a billionaire, or somebody in between... we're all dealt these cards. And if we were in somebody else's shoes, we'd do the same exact thing. So watching people attack people that are trying to be productive, that are trying to do something good, that are trying to grow a community and help people, and especially what you guys are doing here at Graceland, I don't see you trying to do anything negative. I see positive stuff here. I feel positive here.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's serious here.
Yeah.
This isn't like a fucking joke. What we're doing here is dead fucking serious, and we take it dead serious. This shit is organized. It's clean. It's neat. It's like structured. There are rules. It's not a shit show. And I'm fucking proud of what we're doing. What are you going to do? People just... they just don't understand. And I mean, whatever. It's I don't even want to give that any airtime. It's like, it's affected me, but it's also motivated me, and it's also helped build my brand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it's hard times like that push people to the next level. Yeah. So tell me about Learning to Lose. What is that all about in terms of brand?
Just like just being honest and vulnerable, and like embracing like losses and flaws as like learning experience, as like an opportunity for learning and growth. Like losing is the only way to figure out how to win. So if you can learn to lose, like we have to learn to like lose.
Yeah.
And and accept loss. That's how we grow.
Right.
And that's like the trick. That's like the key to not giving up. And if you just don't give up, eventually you'll win.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the same thing with sobriety. I think it's the same thing with business and a lot of things. And, you know, one thing that I love about your content, and you said it, you said the content used to look better, right? It was a production, and now it's your phone, like it's you, it's just a phone, right?
Yeah.
And that's what made you blow up. That's the crazy thing is like when, you
it
know,
is kind of crazy, but it's the content. It's like the people want to, it's way more entertaining.
Yeah, and it's real.
Yeah,
like,
it's real.
When you see a commercial, so my business, we run Facebook ads to get our clients, and we've hired actors, we've done productions. You know, we always get the best when I just open my phone up and just record.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Because it's natural. People don't want to see an advertisement. They don't want to be lied to.
Yeah.
Because when you think about anytime anybody's turned the TV on since the beginning of it, they've been sold some shit.
Yeah.
Right? And when it's just that, when you're just being you and real, people feel it. They resonate. They drop their guard, and they also get vulnerable while you're getting vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like the direction everything's headed.
Yeah, and you look at like where the attention is going, right? Like TV doesn't get the, you know, it's YouTube. It's the Logan Paul, Jake Paul, stuff like that, right? Even though that's kind of a production, it's not following that same kind of line that media has followed. And I think that content in general, especially with TikTok, especially with people like you blowing up with this just gritty, honest, completely unfiltered content, I think that that's going to change everything. And going forward, I think content is going to be, I think people are going to be forced to do that.
Yeah. Someone sent me my friend Aaron sent me like something about how like there were more hours TikTok spent watching TikTok than like other platforms like combined, like Netflix even.
Yeah.
Which seems crazy. But I guess it doesn't, because I don't ever watch anything with anyone who doesn't also watch TikTok while they're watching the thing.
Right.
And then they watch it when they're not watching it. And then they watch it. It's like, so I don't know. It's kind of a trip.
I mean, TikTok's a drug. You're just not like smoking it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just like, yeah. I guess I'm just grateful that I've figured out a way to A, monetize it, and B, help people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just very draining. But I mean, I have fun. Like I go on vacations and shit, and you know, right now, specifically like today and just this past couple weeks, it's been like past couple months maybe. It's almost as if I've injured my brain, right? The trauma of like everything we've been through in the past year, that injured my brain, and now I need it to heal. Like a broken leg heals. It will take time to heal, you know?
Yeah.
I had to just like run through all the crazy shit in the first year.
Yeah.
And just like bro, there were like last year there was a night where this girl Cassie was having a seizure. She had a seizure. We brought her to the ER. She like attacked the nurse, left the ER, and I had COVID outside of the ER at 2 a.m. with COVID, trying to convince her to like go back to the ER.
Right.
This girl was like on her deathbed
right
before she came here. It's like that type of shit. And then like the next day showing up to work with my partner crying because like they're putting us on blast on like some Facebook ethics page.
Yeah.
Saying how we're like a horrible sober living.
Yeah.
Based on like zero facts.
Right. Yeah. And that's why like I wish people could see inside of here and see what really the vibe is here.
Because, well, they can.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Right? Like
Yeah.
this house has 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
The house.
Yep.
So there are people in the house making their own content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have my following, and they get to see glimpses of what's happening in here.
Yep.
So you kind of can, and you can't really like, when I walk around when I go up there and film dinner, they're not actors. They're cooking dinner.
Right.
The residents are making dinner, and then we all eat as a family, and we talk about like issues that are happening in the house. Like,
Yeah.
how could that ever be a bad thing? How could you ever even paint that as something that's not? So we are able to show some of it.
Yeah. I just mean, like, I wish somebody could really see it, because coming in, I've seen the videos, I've seen stuff, but there's always that thing, because until you're here, you don't get it. You don't know until you sort of, because like you kind of got to see like completely unfiltered. And I don't think no matter how genuine content is, people aren't going to get it. But I can tell you that, you know, I wasn't sure what to expect coming up, right? Because you hear all these things, and the majority seems to be extremely positive feedback, right? But regardless, I'm not listening to that. I have a good bullshit meter. And when I walk in here, it's like, yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah.
Good energy. People trying to help people.
Yeah. I mean, you walked into like us trying to like convince someone to like stay sober.
Yeah.
That was like happening. And you had like great feedback to give him. And yeah, you can tell that we care about that kid. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like a nice place. We're really lucky. It's like beautiful. And it's like
fucking gorgeous here, dude. Oh.
Did you get to see like the actual house, or did they just take you down the bottom?
No, we just came in through the back.
Check out like the actual house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll see it. I'm down. So, yeah, I mean, do you have any comments for anybody that's, I know I already said it before, but somebody is thinking about getting sober now. A lot of people are trying to. What would you say the one thing is to somebody that needs to get sober? They just don't know where to start.
I mean, there's no one thing. Just ask for help. You know, don't ask me for help through an Instagram message.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to come here.
Right.
Go to a meeting and talk to somebody at the meeting. That's why we have meetings. I mean, look, I'm not going to fucking beat around the bush, dude. Go to a fucking AA meeting.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on your phone, look up AA near me, find a young people's meeting or a men's stag or a woman's stag or whatever it is. Go there and put your hand out and be like, yo, I'm fucking hurting. And the person that you reach out to has probably been right where you're at.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 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 When I got sober,
simple.
I thought that it was going to be like a cult, you know, like I go to AA.
You know what? It is. So what?
But it's not.
It's not, but who gives a fuck? I'm so sick and tired of that word being thrown around like it's some bad thing.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast today, like all in the beginning of like civilization, like every single community was like a version of a cult.
Right.
And you know what? Like if a cult is what it takes to save my life, like where the fuck do I sign up?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that cults are always a bad thing.
Yeah.
The only problem with them is that they're like worshiping like a person.
Yeah.
But if they're worshiping like a thing, cool.
Yeah.
Like I do think by definition, AA is some form of a cult. Like it's a bunch of people like-minded, worshiping like a god of their own understanding.
Right.
Or putting their faith and trust in their life into the hands of something other than themselves.
Right.
The difference is it's all different. It's not the same God.
Right.
You can have your own God, which kind of like erodes away the cult concept, but like...
Yeah, and there's no like one leader, right? Like
Right.
in AA, one thing, and that's what I think that's what I mean is like, when I went into AA, I was like, oh shit, there's like doctors, lawyers, like it's just like regular people that are out there that are just in here.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just sharing their stories, and there was nothing negative. There's only extreme positive and unconditional love and support.
We're like about to maybe make shirts. I want to make a shirt that says like "Join our cult."
Do it.
Just because that's what people keep saying.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to throw that word around. All right, cool.
Yeah, lean into it.
Let's lean in. But I mean, maybe at some point, you know?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's like perception versus reality. Like if people want to call it a cult or call it whatever, like they're not going to change their mindset.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't see a cult here. I see people trying to help people. Yeah. So anyways, well, dude, Pat, thank you so much for letting us come by Graceland. Thank you for letting us shoot on your equipment too. All our equipment started to kind of fail last second, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Anything else you're supporting? Where can people follow you?
Just Patrick Ridge. Start there and you'll figure it out, the rest out.
Cool.
But thank you, bro.
Yeah, hell yeah.
For being persistent.
Yeah.
I think you got a good little thing here.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.